All right. My name is Donna Bollinger, and I've started a company called D1 Productions, people and leaders for our country. And I was fortunate enough to find a virtual assistant in Pakistan. And the vision of D1 Productions, D1P, has grown immensely since getting to know my amazing virtual assistant, Samir. And I will let him introduce himself. But I'll never forget the first day I met him. He was so shy. And now, as we've gotten to know and trust each other, we've learned so much about each other's cultures. And I'm very interested in sharing Samir's knowledge with you because he is just a wealth of information when it comes to global events. This is stuff that I had never known and actually believed quite the opposite from watching the news myself. So at D1 Productions, like I said, we develop future leaders. And as Samir and I were discussing some of our topics and our missions and our goals, he was telling me that they had the perfect D1P leader in Pakistan named Imran Khan. And as I got to hear more about Imran Khan, I thought, that's just amazing. And Samir has explained a lot to me about what it means to be Muslim. I claim to be a Christian, and I try to follow the teachings of Jesus, and they do seem just almost exactly like the teachings of Muhammad. And I feel like if Samir and I can share a little bit, if he can share with you through me what I've learned, we might be able to help the world, because that's what we want to do. We want to help the world by developing leaders. I watched Trump address the cadets at West Point today, and he had called the football captain, quarterback, I guess, that had won them the championship in the military league and then went on to the top finish they ever had in the nation. And as he was congratulating that young man, he was so impressed because this young man could have gone on to play in the NFL, but instead he wants to be in the Army and serve our country. And I was just so impressed and proud to see that. Not that there's anything wrong with sports and athletics, but our country does need people that are going to focus on creating a warm environment, as in a heart, keeping the heart warm in our world. So, Samir, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself.
My name is Mohammad Samir and I belong to Pakistan. I'm providing my services currently in USA as a virtual assistant, and I'm really grateful to be a part of D1T family and the mission we are promoting and we are following. I think nowadays youth is really confused between right and wrong. People are not really getting what's right and what wrong. So the main thing is that what our mission is to make people ready for any challenge they face in their socio-economical groups and then make a decision between the right and wrong.
Right. Seeing things from a different perspective. And that's what you've helped me do, Samir. It's so easy to lose our temper when we feel like we've been wronged or when people don't appreciate us. That was something that I learned early on with you and Imran Khan in Pakistan, that Pakistan really does go out of its way to try to do good for all of its neighbors and including the United States. And it sometimes seems that no matter how hard they try, it's not appreciated. And people can probably relate to that on a very small scale. If anybody listening to this can relate to how you feel when you're giving it your all and, you know, sacrificing your health and your well-being and your relationships even, and then to feel to be told that, to get reprimanded for that even. And so Samir has such a great attitude about how to rise above that. That's one of our acronyms: RISE. Before you respond, inhale, stay warm, exhale. And I think that comes from his devotion to prayer and to studying and his relationship with God. And he had a really great example set for him with Imran Khan. So what we're hoping is, like, whenever I see something on the news here in the United States, like on Fox News or CNN, some things that have just happened recently, like the shooting of the 2 Israeli diplomats. That's horrible. But then on the news, I hear them saying that the people of Gaza are dirty. And I think that's awful to make that generalization, as many people are dying on both ends. And there's got to be a lot of pent-up anger that doesn't justify killing anyone. But the news makes it worse by just throwing out blanket statements like that. What do you think, Samir?
Exactly, yes. Generalizing a whole nation or a whole race of people or a group of people just on the basis of some past record, or out of that a small group of people is doing some trouble. So generalizing and labeling a whole community as bad or terrorist is really wrong. And this is actually radicalism, which they say that there is no space for in America, and this and that. But the thing is that uh, radical uh, narrative is basically this. Exactly, this is a radical narrative that you are generalizing a whole nation or a whole community or a group of people on the basis of a few individuals who have done something bad. So, just like, for example, if a uh, boy does something wrong, the police doesn't arrest his father just because he belongs to the same family or this lives in the same house. The thing is that you should always pass a judgment or punish someone who has actually done something bad instead of generalizing and labeling a whole community as a bad guy or a terrorist. This is actually wrong, and this is what has been for the past 2 decades almost now. Uh, like they have been targeting and labeling Muslims throughout the world as extremists and radical people and terrorists, especially after the 9/11 attack. They have been labeling Muslims all around the world as terrorists. And just because someone has beard and or is wearing a cap, uh, like a Muslim cap, he is labeled as a terrorist due to his appearance, which is actually a wrong thing. And like people all around the world follow their religions freely, and they've the individuals who are actually more devoted towards religion actually follow the religious appearance instead of wearing modern dresses. So, but the only issue comes in when they say that a Muslim follows an Islamic appearance, so he is actually a terrorist. Because, and the primary reason behind that is the narrative built by the media throughout the world, especially the Western media, and they have portrayed in their cartoons, in their newspapers or their televisions, they have portrayed that if someone is wearing a Muslim cap and has long beard, so he is a terrorist and an extremist for sure, which is actually a wrong thing. And for example, if a nun wears full dress, covers herself with full black dress, it is right. But if a Muslim woman does this, this is oppression and extremism. And if a Jew has is allowed to have long beard, he is practicing his religion. But if a Muslim does this, he is labeled as a terrorist. So it's all about a narrative being built throughout the world. And just like you mentioned that they are labeling the people of Gaza as dirty. So this is actually wrong. Just because a person, I'm not advocating that the person did the right thing by killing those two Jewish people or Israeli diplomats. This is never a solution, and I am never advocating for that. But the thing is that instead of investigating about what happened and uh, uh, passing a judgment on that individual who did that,
So
you
quickly.
are labeling the whole community, all the people of Gaza as dirty or as terrorists, or which include women and children as well. And Israel has been bombing them uh, as like for the past 2 years almost now continuously, and they are wiping them out. They are, which is actually a genocide. They are literally wiping out a whole race of people uh, by following the same narrative that there are terrorists in there, so we have to bomb the whole facility or the whole community living in there. So this is what they are building a narrative by saying all of them as dirty, that you are generalizing a whole community of people as bad guys, which is surely not like this. Just like we cannot say that if Russia is attacking Ukraine, a civilian or a common individual living in Russia, making his regular living and living with his family, is also a bad guy. Maybe he opposes war. He cannot speak that publicly, but he is opposing that within himself. So if you say that Russia is a terrorist country, you are including that person as well. So you cannot label a whole community as bad guys or as terrorists, because this is where you might become a hypocrite in terms of, because
Right.
you are seeing the other perspective of this story. So just because he said free Palestine doesn't mean that he was sent by the people of Gaza or he was being backed by the people of Gaza. Then I bet they literally won't have any idea of what has happened to America, the people of Gaza, because they are struggling to get basic food to keep living and keep breathing. They are even struggling to do that. So how is it
Mhm.
possible they would send someone uh, for an attack? Maybe it's his own perspective that just because Israel is doing a genocide, so Israel is killing innocent people in Gaza, so I should kill their diplomats just to give the world a message that uh, you should advocate for stopping this genocide, which is actually a wrong way. You should not
Right.
diplomats uh, just like that in a uh, targeted targeted killing attack. Instead, you can protest in front of them. And again, I'm not advocating that the person has
Right.
done the right thing, but the media is also doing the wrong by
Oh,
por-
yes.
by
Well,
portraying
I'm
things like
afraid.
that.
I'm afraid, Samir, that there's somebody behind the scenes stirring the pot, making the media more like a action, drama thriller series now. That's what they're doing to the minds of our children. So, by parents being glued to the news and it being so stimulating, and they're making it so dramatic, and there's Satan comes to destroy and divide. So what do you think what's the solution to this? I mean, I'm hoping by us starting a conversation, and being courageous to see each other's perspective. I see you as an amazing human being. Like we want to call this maybe, if we keep going with it, talking to a terrorist. Like Am I talking to a terrorist? Because I've even been accused of having, a virtual assistant in Pakistan, and I'm enjoying what I'm learning about Imran Khan. And people say, well, be careful talking to that guy in Pakistan. They're just trying to brainwash you. They've got an agenda. And I'm finding quite the opposite. And in my heart, I want what's best for my kids and this world. So when I see what's happening on the news, specifically when India was bombing Pakistan, I wanted to know what was really the truth. And so I was digging deeper with Samir, and it was very different than what I saw on the news. So, but then of course, when when Pakistan, it's time for them to show their strength and defend themselves, because they are a strong country, obviously, then it's all put to rest. Thank God it's put to rest. But again, that's just putting a lid on some boiling water, and it's going to blow unless the somehow the steam is really let out. And that, I think, comes with uncovering the truth. Who is really behind these attacks? Who could have even put that young man up to shooting those two innocent individuals? Because there is someone that is very happy to see our world divided and crumbling. Do you agree?
Yes. So basically, you can never rely on mainstream media if you really want to know the truth. Uh, you should also have you should also follow social media, because on social media anyone can post anything. Obviously, there is false information in there, a lot of more false information than mainstream media. Social media, because there are billions of people using that every social media platform, and they can post whatever they want without even once uh, checking that if it fact checking that if it is true or not. But the thing is, at least you see different perspectives. You never rely on one source. You see uh, different perspectives of different people. Just like your mainstream media is also not biased in every case. It is biased where there is interest. Uh,
Mm.
just to say, Western media is little bit biased, not little bit actually. It is completely biased towards Israel Palestine conflict. So what it is showing is just Israeli side and showing them as victims and superheroes who are saving the world from terrorists by attacking on Hamas and this and that. Uh, but if you see in Russia-Ukraine war, you will see the same media sources showing stories from both sides, but a little bit biasing towards Ukraine because it's an ally of the West. So just to go against Russia, they will be little bit biased, but they won't completely sideline the Russian perspective. They will show if there are casualties on Russian side. They will show if uh, there are victims in Russia as well, but they will be little bit biased towards Ukraine. And then coming, just like you gave an example of recent India-Pakistan war, uh, it was a tension. It was not. You cannot say it was a war, but the media, Western media, was completely neutral in that scenario. Indian media was uh, very confidently spreading misinformation. I'm not saying this because I'm Pakistani. There, people actually admitted that. You can find hundreds of tweets on that, and you can find hundreds of videos on that as well. But on Pakistani side, they were showing Pakistan side more, covering Pakistan side more, but they were not at least spreading misinformation. But the international sources were totally neutral, and that's why India had to agree on ceasefire because it was facing an international embarrassment. because it
Mm,
was denying again and again that Pakistan shot down their 5 to 6 fighter jets, and which were latest generation of warfare. And just to stop that embarrassment, they had to agree on ceasefire. So that was all made possible through international media. So the thing is that you will find the mainstream media biased from uh, time to time, discuss on the discussion of different topics as well. There are some neutral international sources as well, but you cannot really rely on one source. You can uh, follow that through social media. That's the ultimate solution. Just like mainstream media won't show you the Palestinian side at all, but on social media you will find millions of videos where they will show babies are being killed, children are being
mhm.
killed, and
Right.
women.
And it's just getting worse and worse
Yes, and
because the protesters are not being heard. And so if they
right,
can't, if they're not, people aren't listening, then they're going to start screaming. If the screaming's not working, they're going to start yelling, hitting, and they want it to stop. And they're just making the protesters look so bad. And this guy now, boy, he made them look even worse.
it comes
So
with frustration, because the frustration on like Muslims around the world, and especially the people of Gaza, and people having some serious sympathy for them is increasing day by day, because international countries, the United Nations is doing nothing, just backing Israel more and more. Like America is backing it. America is sending continuous aid and latest warfare technology to Israel, just to keep on, just to continue that genocide. But the thing is that it will just increase frustration in people. Not everyone is like me and you, who will just discuss that and do whatever is in their hands by speaking on social media, or speaking on media, or spreading the word. But some people will be less tempered. Again, I'm not advocating that the person did the right thing, but the thing is that not everyone will be like that. Like that, who knows how might be frustrated he would be seeing those that genocide continues. Even I myself, whenever I see videos from Palestinian side, I really become sad, and like I say, what is the world doing? They are literally silent on all of this stuff. Uh, when they are advocating for a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, the world is just ignoring this side. So,
mm,
but the frustration in some people who are less tempered comes out like exactly like this. They say that now, because it's a headline, he said free Palestine, free Palestine. So just to make that happen, he actually admitted that I have done, because he was a suspect and he surrendered in front of this. What I have learned through the media, that he surrendered, and he then said, while he was uh, getting away by the police, like he was getting taken away by the police, and he was saying free Palestine. So he was actually pushing the narrative by doing by following a wrong path, which is actually a bad thing.
makes
But
it worse.
this is the result. Now they are showing the families of like they are showing them the Israeli diplomats as uh, victims, and they are saying that they were going to be engaged and this and that. But
Right.
this is the result which you will get when you wipe out generations of a whole community of people.
Mm,
If not those people, if those people will not be able to resist themselves, then someone else will come and do stuff like this, just to push their narrative in a wrong way,
right.
by not choosing a right path. But they will try to push that narrative by,
Right.
just like you can say, attention seeking is a term perfect for that. just to because when the word is silent, the media is not showing. They do this kind of stunts uh, to push
Mhm.
the narrative.
Right.
So it's all about that. So when you confidently and without any hesitation start a genocide, then these kind of results are expected.
Right.
This kind of events would happen again and again. These would happen
Mhm.
again in future as well.
Well, let's start thinking about a solution. I mean, I heard Trump say today at the West Point graduation that if you've got a problem that's too hard to solve, I think he said Eisenhower said this. That was one of our presidents. Um, I'm not sure that it was Eisenhower. It was one of the presidents. Said if he had a problem that was too big to solve, he'd make it even bigger, because if the problem is a, it's a problem, it's too big to solve, a lot of people are going to be working on that problem. But if you make the problem even, go for it even on a bigger scale, then you're you're you just can't give up. And I don't want to give up till the day I die. Of let's help young people see other young people's perspective, because a lot of young people are dying because the older people don't know how to communicate and their egos have taken charge. And I do believe that there's a young wave of individuals that have energy and they're awakening to what's really going on in the world. And they have to just know that blowing their top like that doesn't do any good. But we all blow our tops sometimes, but we got to recognize it and correct it. Like, I lost my temper last night. I just was pushed to the limit. I was just exhausted, and I didn't even recognize the voice that came out of my mouth because I had been shoving so much down. And but luckily it was amongst people that I love. And sometimes we have to get things out and we have to forgive each other, not point fingers all over the place like the news is doing, while they're all made up and looking beautiful and they're funny and it's just entertainment and they just want people to watch. And the more messy it is, if it bleeds, it leads. Have you heard that, Samir? If it bleeds, it leads. They want the headlines. They want people watching.
Right,
So if people do want to watch to be informed, let's balance out the perspective and let's find a way to get these young people to open up their minds, not be protesters, knocking things down, but find a way to get their voices heard. And I think that starts with becoming a good listener, right?
right. And I think that the ultimate solution to this is acceptance. That you make yourself strong enough to at least listen to other person as well, not just thrashing away your own perspective or your point of view. You should also be able to listen. There is a very good example that there is a six sign, like a six number, and two people are uh, standing, one on this side, one on this side, and one is seeing it as nine and one is seeing it as six, because it's totally 180 degrees shift.
Right.
So no one is wrong actually. The only thing is how they are looking to it. If they swap their sides, they will agree with each other, but they are not ready to swap their sides. So and it doesn't come in uh, 1 day or 2 day or 1 month or 1 year. It comes time to time when you start accepting things, because it's all about your internal ego basically, that you are not ready. For example, if I'm from Pakistan and someone from India comes in and he says that in that conflict this happened, no, this happened. Now what I have learned and what I know, in my point of view, that is true, but in point of his point of view, he's saying the truth. So I will be instantly become furious and I will feel he is saying this, he is saying wrong. and that I will take it on my ego, and I will not listen to him properly, right? And I will not be
Mhm.
ready to listen his thing even completely. I will not even let him complete his talk.
Right.
So eventually, when I uh, increase my temperament, that I at least do one thing, that at least listen to the other person, what he is saying. Let him complete his talk, then you can give your answer if you have some different opinion, or if you uh, uh, think that he is saying the wrong, or he is saying the he is not telling the truth, then you can say, but you should listen. That listening will, when you listen to 1%, 10%, 100%, your temperament will increase, and you will be more calm, and you will be more intellectual when you are talking to other people, because now you know that let him complete his talk, then I will share my point, then I will give him a proper answer to this. If I want to make my the person in front of me, uh, I want to prove him wrong, or I want to prove my narrative right, I have to listen to him, let him talk at least.
Right.
So I can give answer to his every question, and I can put my questions in front of him, and then let's see if he can answer those or not. If he can answer, then we can uh, carry on the discussion, or he might be true. But if he is not able to answer that, either he is misinformed, or his information level is too low, that he doesn't even research it properly, or
Right.
they think that he is wrong. There are only two
What,
possibilities. So when you listen to his answers, and then you put your questions in front of him, that will actually make you make your temperament high, and you will be more patient, and you will be more diligent while talking to the others.
and timing is right, is important. Like you've got to
That
do it at the right time when your heart is warm, right? I
right,
mean, there are some very blatant obstacles like fear, greed. Greed is a definite obstacle these days. Lack of trust. But the three things that I've learned strategies for lately is if you're afraid, that means that you are you feel a lack of control. So surrendering, we've got to learn to surrender a little bit more. And that's why I think that's what makes Imran such an amazing leader. I mean, he's in prison now, but he's surrendering. He's making the most of everything. He surrenders his, not only his will, but his desires to God, right? And then
correct,
when you feel angry, it's because you are set on a certain outcome, and if you don't get that outcome, you're angry. So what real that can apply to Israel Gaza right now, because they want this outcome, but maybe they should think about the present. You switch yourself to the present. What's presently happening, you know, is young children are dying by, and women and innocent people starving and being exploded, right? And because they have their mindset on a certain outcome. And then also if you feel sad, it's because you feel like you're lacking something. We're lacking something. So everybody's going to feel sad. Everyone, even billionaires, will feel sad. But what are they lacking? Well, whatever you're lacking, go give it to somebody else, right? So that is the cure in a spiritual sense, as I've been studying the, fruit of the spirit. And like I study on my end, I know Samir studies and prays 5 times a day. And I trust that he keeps his heart warm. And then that's what I'm trying to do, keep my heart warm, because I've gone down the wrong roads, and I've gone, and it doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't get you happiness, that's for sure. And once you find your purpose in life, that's what makes you want to get up in the morning. So I just can't even imagine going on glamorous vacations right now, knowing that there are innocent lives being lost. And if I can do one little thing about it, then I'd rather do that than, be lounging somewhere. And not everybody might feel that way, but I do. And so I feel like God granted me a great virtual assistant. So thanks for this discussion, Samir. This is good.